actually drew you to writing cozy mysteries then? Because there are other genres that have a really strong sense of place that you can cover community in, but why this specifically?
I think so often authors are shaped by what they enjoyed reading in their formative years. And in my teens, what I particularly enjoyed reading was Sherlock Holmes. My dad had a complete Sherlock Holmes, a lovely hardback, which I just discovered one day when I was about 13, and I just read all the way through it. I'm not quite sure how, I discovered Dorothy L. Sayers and the Lord Peter Wimsey books, which were contemporary when they were set, written in the 1920s and 30s. But I just, and Dorothy L. Sayers has a really strong sense of place there as well, and terrific themes. So one of her books, for example, is set in an advertising agency. Another one is set around bell ringing in Norfolk, and she has a wonderful sense of place. And also Agatha Christie, I read a lot of when I was a teenager, and those three authors really became my comfort reads. And so those, and I've returned to them time and time again. I read very, very widely. I read a lot of books. I did an English literature degree, for which I had to read very widely, and all kinds of genres. So it's not as if that's the only thing I've had exposure to, but it's my comfort zone, and it's very fun. And for when I started writing, sort of treating myself as an author and considering myself an author and writing full time, that was the natural area that I just sort of moved towards. I've also got a strong element of romance writing. There's an ongoing relationship story with not only with Sophie Sayers in the Sophie Sayers series and Hector Munro, the bookseller, but there are other little romances that go on, relationship building within those stories as well, little subplots. And there's also in my St. Bride series, there's relationship stories there as well, romantic stories. And so I really enjoy that side of things as well. And not just romantic relationships, but relationships between friends. So Sophie in the village, as you will discover, she develops friendships with people of all ages, from children and teenagers to the elderly gentleman next door to her. And I really like writing about friendships as well. And I think cozy mystery provides a good context for writing about that kind of relationship. And I think it adds depth and interest, and particularly where you've got an ongoing relationship story developing through a series of books, it helps keep each one different. So that in the 7-book series of Sophie Sayers, Sophie, to begin with, she's on the rebound from a failed relationship. Her confidence is very low, her self-esteem is very low, and through the 7 books, she builds her confidence and her self-esteem and a new healthy relationship. And that relationship also changes and evolves through the 7 books. Having said that, I have also branched out slightly. Last summer, I suddenly had the idea and the urge to write a completely different book, standalone book called Mrs. Morris Changes Lanes, which is a sort of a second chance romantic comedy. For the protagonist, Juliet Morris, is about 50, and she is at the point where she's regretting how things might have been if she'd acted differently in her youth. And this is a romantic comedy. It's got a kind of mysterious element to it as well. It's got a bit of magical realism, and people who have read it said, well, I wasn't quite sure where this was going to go. And there's sort of plot twists and surprises. It's the second chance is not what it first seems. And I really enjoyed writing that. And I think I'm currently writing the 3rd St. Bride series, which will be a 6-book series at the moment. There is going to be an 8th book in the Sophie Sayers series, but after I've finished writing Scandal at St. Brides, my current work in progress, I'm going to be writing another book in this kind of vein called Moon Over Mousehole, another second chance scenario set in Mousehole in Cornwall for a 20-something protagonist. And again, with magical realism and with a strong sense of place. I'll be departing from the Cotswolds then to write about Cornwall, which is another lovely place.